Good morning, everyone. Hope things are well. I'm just currently sitting inside my hotel room, still in London, spending the next few days awaiting what is going to be the first leg of the semi-final at the Emirates when we take on Arsenal. And speaking of that first leg against Arsenal, it has now been stated, according to Saudi Arabian sources, that Martin Dubravka will play his final ever game for Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup semi-final, and he will leave Newcastle United after the Arsenal game. Of course, take this with a pinch of salt once again with the Saudi Arabian sources, but it opens up a lot of questions for Newcastle. And before we talk about what will happen next, who will come in, because Newcastle will now have to sign a new goalkeeper. So who will Newcastle bring in this window? What will happen with the goalkeeper situation after Dubravka has left? There's plenty of questions answered, and I will try my best to answer them all in this video. But starting off, if you guys are new around here, make sure to get down there, hit that subscribe button. Away day vlog, we will be at Arsenal, and as the transfer news comes out, it will be reported here on the channel. So make sure you stay tuned so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. I've got plenty of special videos planned next week, and a few surprises, which I'm not allowed to say just yet, but expect some surprise videos next week. So keep an eye out. But in terms of Martin Dubravka, let me just start off before we talk about the current transfer situation. Fair play to Martin Dubravka. I'm saying this before the Arsenal games. I'm hoping I haven't jinxed anything. But in terms of last impressions that Martin Dubravka could give to Newcastle fans going out of the door, I have to say he's left a good impression. If you told me that a few weeks ago, I would have went, Martin Dubravka, got no issues, sell him, goodbye. I'm going to be honest, the last few weeks, this guy, yes, albeit we're playing against teams that aren't attacking much and our defence and midfield have been that good where Dubravka hasn't had to do much. But when he's tested, he's turned up. And I think at 36 years old, he's left the football club in a good spirit. And that's even more impressive because 2 years ago, when we signed Nick Pope, this goalkeeper at the first real opportunity of any competition wanted to go straight to Manchester United. And I think ideally, if the Manchester United loan spell had worked out for him, he would have wanted to join their football club and he would have just done Newcastle over. So the fact that he's came back to Newcastle, played a few games last season, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't keen on him last season. I didn't like some of his performances. This season, again, Nick Pope gets injured, Dubravka comes in. Wow, he's left in a good note. He's been as good as he possibly can be. And going out with his football club, I will look back at Martin Dubravka's time at his football club and I will have fond memories of him. He's came in 6 years, done a fantastic job. And as long as the Arsenal game doesn't go guns blazing and Dubravka has a stinker, as long as he just plays okay in the Arsenal game, he's going to leave the football club in a fantastic note. My concern being for the Arsenal game, however, is that I hope he doesn't half-arse it with the fact that he knows he's going to leave the football club. I just hope he just sees the game out and just does his job and doesn't have anything potentially going into the game that could hamper his performance. But if that happens, he's had a fantastic time at this football club. Now, for some questions being, why are we signing Dubravka? Well, I think there's two main reasons why we actually are selling this goalkeeper now. For him on a personal level, as I just said, he's 36 years old now. Going to a Saudi Arabian club, you can put the maths together. He's going to get a lot of money. He will get higher wages than he's currently on at Newcastle. It's probably a good move financially for his family just to ensure that his family has all the money they could possibly want for when he retires. And it feels more like a family choice rather than perhaps him being desperate to play first team football at Al-Shabab. I can't imagine that's the main focus why he's going to Saudi Arabia. But again, I feel like it's probably a family thing for him. If I was to speculate and to guess why Dubravka will want to go there. But for Newcastle United, in terms of FFP, in terms of PSR, we are getting money for a 36-year-old goalkeeper. I don't know how much it might be. It might be minimal amounts, but it's money for a 36-year-old goalkeeper. And you can't rule it out. I think I would have just let Dubravka go on a free in the summer anyway. So the fact we're getting some money for him now, based on his performance recently, we probably will get a decent amount of money for a 36-year-old. So again, I'm happy with that. Newcastle United, in a financial point of view, will benefit heavily from it. And it's not going to be a big major sign that's going to sort PSR out, but it's little. And that little will help. It will do something. So, yeah, for Newcastle United, it's probably a good sale as well. So it feels like a correct type of sell Dubravka. I don't normally look at these ITK accounts, but I wanted to address this one in particular because I got a feeling some of you guys will mention this on my video, and it's mental. So one of the ITK accounts claims that if Newcastle United gets this deal completed, it would actually cost Al-Shabab £8 million. Surely that is not true. That's a 36-year-old goalkeeper which we bought for £4 million 6 years ago. Surely there is no way on planet Earth we are getting £8 million for a 36-year-old Martin Dubravka. Not to mention, if that sale was to go through for £8 million, surely Premier League clubs will complain to the league about fair market value. I do not think Martin Dubravka is an £8 million goalkeeper. Surely the fair market value, that is most certainly not fair. So we'll see if the sale goes through, how much Newcastle would get. Surely it's not £8 million. That is just mind-boggling if it is. And with Dubravka going out of the door, it means we have to bring someone in. And you would probably assume, judging that if this is Dubravka's last game, that somebody else will be lined up. Now, of course, according to reports, someone that Newcastle have a massive eye on is James Trafford. Now, you look at James Trafford's stats this season in the Championship. He has the highest save percentage in the league for Burnley. He's conceded the least amount of goals in the league as well. Now, I know Burnley's team on paper probably is the best in the Championship, if not one of the best. You got to look at the stats and statistics to say that James Trafford is one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper in the Championship. Someone that's still young, admittedly, if he was to come at Newcastle and go straight to the first team squad. Again, I'm not quite sure how he would do. I know people criticise his Premier League performances last season, but Burnley was so bad last season where I feel like it's harsh to criticise the goalkeeper for that. His defence was terrible, his team was terrible, and I feel like just to base the goalkeeper off of Burnley last season, I don't think it's the most fair comparison in the world. So I wouldn't necessarily say that last season will show off what he's like as a goalkeeper, but if there's a good deal available, this seems to be the one Newcastle United is very keen on. Now, maybe into the summertime, I'm assuming that Nick Pope is close to returning within the next couple of weeks. I'm sure he'll be back into the squad. So I'm assuming that Nick Pope will be back soon. So Newcastle initially might just go for a cheap option, bring somebody in. Not quite at the levels of John Ruddy or Mark Gillespie, but I think it'll be someone a step above them. But again, it's the goalkeeper that might be a bit older, a goalkeeper that might have his best years behind him, but just somebody until the end of the season just to make sure if Nick Pope gets injured again, we'll have an option available. Bring in. Our kicking with Nick Pope is awful. I mean, Newcastle's defence and the midfield were more shaky when Nick Pope's in goal. Now, again, I would argue that's a bit unfair towards Nick Pope because we were just so bad on the pitch at that moment in time where I wouldn't pinpoint it on the goalkeeper because Nick Pope definitely wasn't the only reason why Newcastle was struggling a few weeks ago. But Newcastle have proven that they are much more comfortable at the back when Martin Dubravka is playing. So for Nick Pope, he has to prove himself because if he doesn't prove himself, I'm almost willing to come out in the summer and just say, well, you know what? Let's just buy a new first choice goalkeeper and let's get our quality further up. So in this window, when Newcastle got a chance now to bring in, I wouldn't say a goalkeeper their choice because again, we will look to spend as little as possible to make sure at the summertime or in the rest of this window, Newcastle can spend elsewhere. But Nick Pope will get competition in. He will get someone that's younger in, well, younger into Dubravka anyway. He'll get someone that's younger in 36 in, and it'll be someone that hopefully will test Pope for one, and secondly, will be a first choice goalkeeper going forward. I'm hoping that's the case, but again, I'm more reluctant to say that I reckon Newcastle will sign an older goalkeeper just until the summer to try and see it out. But keep an eye on James Trafford though, because he's the most interesting choice that I've seen on social media and one that does not seem to go away whatsoever. As for the cup game at the weekend, of course, we have Bromley at St James's Park, which, to be honest, is the ideal fixture where we can just put anyone in goal and we should be fine. Ideally, Vladimir Dimos, the actual £20 million goalkeeper hub we have. Ideally, it'll be him that will start and goal and not John Woody or Mark Gillespie, so I'm going to assume that Vladimir Dimos will be in there and he should have a comfortable time against Bromley. As for the game after that, of course, we then have Bournemouth at St James's Park before going away to Southampton. But Bournemouth won't be an easy game. But again, at St James's Park before playing the worst team in the league. These aren't bad fixtures at all. And finally, in terms of this video, let's just finish off with Tottenham yesterday. Oh, do not even get me started on Tottenham yesterday. Anger coming out in the press conference after the game saying of all the variables were in our favour, Tottenham would have won the game. And blaming bad officiating towards Tottenham. Well, not to mention the fact that Anthony Gordon got elbowed in the nose and basically had a broken nose. Not to mention the fact that Newcastle in the game had several opportunities where the referee was horrendous for both teams. Tottenham lost 5 of the last 6 games against Newcastle, and Ange has lost 10 matches now. And he wants to come out in the press conference and say that Newcastle were lucky, Newcastle shouldn't have won the game. You're either deluded or you're in denial, because there's no way in hell Newcastle United did not deserve to win that game yesterday. I'm not having it at all. Newcastle within the first half were by far the better team, regardless of Tottenham's pressure in the second half. They did not create enough opportunities. In my opinion, Newcastle won fair and square yesterday, and I thought Newcastle deserved to win the game yesterday. So to see Tottenham fans come out on social media and give out this BS, to see Ange, Tottenham's manager, come out and give this BS on social media, is encouraging this poor mentality of it's someone else's fault rather than our fault. I'm sick of seeing it. Tottenham in the bottom half for a reason. They're in the bottom half because they haven't got results. It's nobody else's fault but their own. Newcastle, we've had bad spells this season. Take us back 4 weeks ago, we had a horrendous spell where we were down there with Tottenham. Newcastle got their act together and Newcastle's won the games, and they haven't blamed anyone. And Eddie Howe was fair towards these players. He sat down with these players individually, as it's been stated on social media. And Newcastle's got a bunch of wins together now, and Newcastle are chasing for a Champions League spot. And that's the difference between the mentality of Eddie Howe and the mentality of Ange. The mentality of one manager who looked reflectively at his players and looked at how to improve his players, versus a manager who blames the referee, blames the fans, he blames the illness, he blames the what else? He blames VAR, he blames everything but himself and the players. Honestly, you're going to set me off again. I cannot be bothered with Ange, be bothered for Tottenham. You have lost 5 of your last 6 games against Newcastle, and they want to come out on social media and say that on a different day Tottenham would have won. No, you wouldn't. You've had 5 different days and you've lost them. You only won one of them, where, to be honest, that was December last season, when Newcastle had Champions League football and Newcastle's away form was horrifically bad. And Tottenham had a good game against Newcastle, but again, that's Newcastle at their lowest point. And every single hour match, Newcastle has won. And I'm sick of this BS where, if we played Newcastle next week and we had a different referee, we had a different VAR official, Tottenham would have won. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. That's why you've lost 10 games this season. That's why you're sitting in the bottom half of the table. You've had those chances against other teams and you've lost those games. So how they can come out and say that Newcastle were lucky, I'm not having it. Like, absolute BS. I'm not having an opposition manager come out and just to give Tottenham fans this poor mentality of it's someone else's fault. It's no one else's fault but yours, and I'm not having it anymore. But yeah, a little bit of a passionate rant there, but I'm not having this BS. I'm sick of going on social media, and I'm sick of seeing opposition managers just downplay Newcastle and talk bad about Newcastle's performance. Newcastle won that game fair and square yesterday, and they were a better team. Tactically knew what they were doing, and they controlled the game at big stages. And I will credit Newcastle for that, and I won't credit Ange for coming out and chatting rubbish in the media. So yeah, that's my personal opinion on that. I feel like that's an appropriate way to finish this video off, because I know you guys seem to enjoy it when I just slay into these negative comments towards Newcastle. So let me know your thoughts about that down below, and let me know your thoughts on Martin Dubravka. Do you think it's the correct time to sell him? I'm still not sure. I said I wasn't sure in my last video, and I'm standing by it, because this guy's not doing anything wrong and we're selling him now. So according to reports anyway, again, take it with a pinch of salt. But I'm intrigued to see what you guys think. What do you think about this situation? Do you think it's the correct time, or do you think it's perhaps a bit premature, or you feel like Martin Dubravka should have more time at the football club? Let me know your opinions, and we'll see you all in the next one.